So when you push a button, you get the notes coming out. If you look at the screen, it shows the name of the note along with the value of each of these knobs here whenever I turn them. Even the joystick changes around. I got that working. These 4 buttons control the menu system for the LCD. The first 2 buttons scroll up and down through the options. The last 2 buttons increase and decrease. The first option you have is to set the voice. You can go from 1 all the way up to 16. This way you can have multiple Baxboards, or they can work with other devices. The synthesizer I built supports voices 1 through 4. This way I can easily switch between them without having to make any code changes. The next option is the controller values for each of the knobs. So you can set it depending on what your controller listens for. Mine is 7, 10, 12, and 13. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't really matter. If you hook this up to the PC, you can change how it reacts based on the address in your software. Joystick X and Y, which is basically just 5 and 6, I set those to a reserve value of 128, which means in this case they will be used as the velocity. Velocity is how hard you push the button. Going on down, you have the starting note. Mine's currently set to C3. I can change this up or down to C2, or it is now an octave lower. And we can also change the starting note up to C4. After the starting note, I have added the option to pick from a few scales. The previous video only had the chromatic scale selection, whereas you see as I go across, it increments at a half step per button. I've added a couple so far, like the major scale, so if I start with the C, we'll see C, D. I've added the minor scale, so let's go change this to A, so we'll see A. I've also added part of the harmonic minor scale, the melodic minor, Dorian, and Mixolydian modes. So we set it to Mixolydian, we'll see from A. And on the y-axis for the rows, they increment based on the eighth. So we'll have C, G sharp, E, C. So the 4th row is back to C, 2 octaves higher, and then it repeats. So added the ability to save your settings. If you pick the last menu option, Save Settings, and press either of these 2 buttons, left or right, they will be saved. And now, if I were to turn it off and on again, all my settings would still be there. Now I've got the Baxboard hooked up to a USB to MIDI converter to my PC, and I'm running a copy of Ableton Live 9 Lite. So let's pick one of the keyboards off our option here. With the controller hooked up to the PC over MIDI, I can push buttons on the keypad and you'll hear the computer making noises for it. You can map different MIDI controls to various options in the software. So if I click on this little knob here, turn a knob on my board, I mapped it to channel 1, controller 7. I have my knob turned to the left, and as I turn left here, I'll turn my knob up all the way, and it's all the way up there too. So in this case, I have them to each of these 4 knobs. If you wanted, it's very easy to change the channel that the Baxboard runs on, so I could pick channel 2 and then set the knobs to control 4 more options in here, and then just flip back and forth with these 2 buttons. The joystick controls the velocity, so if I move it all the way down,